After 5 painful years apart, she discovered the incredible truth. Her billionaire ex found love. Emily stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection with a mix of disbelief and bitterness. The familiar ache of Jack's departure felt like a heavy rock in her chest. 5 years had passed since he'd walked away to chase city lights and big dreams, leaving behind the quaint charm of Maple Grove. She used to dream about their future, but now, the memories twisted like knives. The community around her, her friends, family, and students had wrapped her in a warm cocoon of support. Yet, with every pumpkin spice latte in the bustling cafes, Jack's absence loomed like a dark cloud. As she picked at her soft beige dress, readying herself for the fall festival, news erupted like fireworks. Jack, the charming college sweetheart, had struck gold. Not just financially, oh no. He had found love again, this time with Mia, an enviable celebrity whose smile lit up billboards and magazine covers. Emily's heart sank. How could she feel betrayed by someone she once loved with such intensity? Their dreams seemed entirely misaligned, with Jack's glamorous life now miles apart from her humble dream of teaching and nurturing young minds. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined to face this new reality, she decided to attend the charity gala they were hosting in Maple Grove. Stepping into the grand hall, the contrast between her modest upbringing and the opulence around her struck her like a slap in the face. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, laughter echoed like music, and Emily felt like an imposter in a dress borrowed from a friend. Standing against the wall, she sipped her drink, anxiety gnawing at her. The warmth of her tight-knit community felt distant, drowned by feelings of inadequacy. Then, from across the room, she spotted Jack. His laughter was infectious, but Mia's radiant smile made her heart ache. Their connection was undeniable, and jealousy bubbled within Emily, leaving a bitter taste on her tongue. But as the evening wore on, she found herself near the couple, overhearing Jack confessing to Mia about his struggles, revealing the vulnerability hidden behind his perfect facade. "I never wanted to hurt her," he said, his voice tinged with regret. Emily's breath hitched. Could it be possible that love and longing hadn't vanished entirely? When their eyes finally met, a tide of complex emotions crashed over her. All the unspoken words from 5 years flooded back, the what-ifs weighing heavier than ever. As they approached each other, silence throbbed with tension, doubt, anger, longing blending into something deeper. Caught at this crossroads, Emily realized she was no longer just the woman from Maple Grove, defined by their past. She had grown stronger, braver. But as Jack spoke with sincerity, unveiling his inner turmoil, a flicker of hope ignited within her. What if they could find a way back to each other, despite the odds? The world blurred around them, and as they stood face to face, the future stretched out like an open road. Would she hold on to the remnants of love they shared, or step boldly into the unknown? The answers lingered just out of reach, a tantalizing question hanging in the crisp autumn air. Jack took a step closer, his eyes searching Emily's as if trying to read the story written all over her face. The noise of the gala melted away, and for a moment, it felt like they were the only two people in the room. Emily felt her heart racing, caught between a rush of memories and a surge of feelings she thought she had buried long ago. "Emily," his voice was soft, almost a whisper. "I didn't think I'd see you here." There was a hint of surprise mixed with something deeper, an unspoken apology perhaps. "Neither did I," she replied, her own voice steadier than she felt. "It's been a while." They both knew the weight of those words. Jack's gaze dropped momentarily, an uncomfortable silence stretching between them. Emily could see the shadows of regret lurking in his expression. She wanted to scream, to ask why he left, why he chose the sparkling world of fame over their quiet little life. But instead, she took a deep breath. "You look happy, Jack." "I am mostly," he confessed, then turned to where Mia stood, her laughter ringing uncomfortably clear through the air. "But there are things I wish I had said before I left." The tension thickened as Jack glanced back at Emily, the flicker of hope in his eyes mirrored in hers. The years apart felt like a bridge built of mistakes and misunderstandings, yet here they were, standing at the edge of it.
What do you mean?
Emily asked, her curiosity battling with the pain of old wounds.
Jack hesitated, searching for the right words. After I left, it was hard.
I chased success, but every achievement felt hollow without you.
I thought moving on was the answer, but I see now how much I took for granted.
Hearing him say that pulled at something deep within her. Part of her wanted to brush it aside, cloaked in the bitterness of betrayal. The other part she had kept locked away craved to reach across the chasm that had formed years ago.
Jack stepped closer, lowering his voice.
I made a lot of mistakes, Em.
I hurt you, and that was never my intention.
His admission struck Emily with the force of a tidal wave. She felt the tears welling up, emotions long suppressed cracked open like a dusty old jar.
You left without a word, I know, and I'm sorry.
I thought it was what I needed, but I realized no amount of money can replace the love we had.
Emily's chest tightened.
Collaboration in words turned to shared silence, the world outside faded as she absorbed his admission. Her heart ached between longing and resentment, caught in the paradox of wanting him back while feeling like they were worlds apart. Mia approached, her bright smile failing to mask the tension in the air.
Hey Jack.
We should get moving for the first dance.
With Mia's arrival, the moments slipped away like sand through fingers.
That flicker of hope began to dim, but one thought remained alive.
Could they really bridge the gap their years apart had created?
Emily clenched her jaw, forcing the brave face she had long practiced.
Maybe we can talk later? Jack nodded, a flicker of desperation in his eyes. I'd like that.
As she turned away, Emily felt an unexpected surge of strength. The night was just beginning, and though she feared what would come next, her heart whispered a bold challenge. This could either be her chance to heal or a final goodbye. As the festival lights twinkled around her and laughter danced in the air, she pondered the crossroads she faced. Maybe, just maybe, she would find the courage to face the truth of her feelings. Would she risk everything she had built to explore the possibility of rekindling the past? In that moment, with uncertainty lurking at the edges, Emily knew she had a decision to make and time was ticking. Emily walked away from Jack, her heart pounding in her chest. The vibrant colors of the gala whirled around her like a dizzying dream. She had imagined this moment countless times over the last 5 years, but reality felt different from the fantasies she depainted in her mind. She forced a smile as she passed familiar faces, every greeting feeling like a flimsy disguise for the storm brewing inside her.
Em. You look stunning.
Kate, her closest friend, appeared at her side, her excitement infectious.
I was just saying to Mike how incredible you'd look in that dress. Kate's compliment momentarily distracted her, but Emily's thoughts kept drifting back to Jack.
Thanks, Kate, she replied, trying to shake the lingering emotions.
What about you? Are you enjoying the evening? Kate laughed, tossing her hair back. Oh, absolutely. The food is amazing, and the music is perfect for dancing. Speaking of which, are you going to dance or just stand here daydreaming? Emily noticed a few couples twirling on the dance floor.
Everything seemed like it was moving in rhythm, yet she felt stuck, frozen in place. Maybe later, she managed, her voice distant, with a subtle nudge. Kate teased, you need to loosen up.
Let us get some drinks and find a spot to people watch. As they made their way to the bar, Emily felt the weight of Jack's gaze even from across the room. She couldn't help but glance back at him. He stood with Mia, but his attention was fully on her. The curious mix of longing and hurt morphed into an ache deep in her stomach. Was this how it felt to have the one you thought you'd lost forever suddenly back in reach? After grabbing drinks, they found a cozy corner with a view of the dance floor. Kate's chatter faded as Emily watched Jack and Mia laugh together, the glimmer of happiness in their shared moments stinging more than she anticipated. She took a sip of her drink, allowing the cool liquid to wash down the lump in her throat. Hello, Earth to Emily. Kate waved a hand in front of her face. You're zoning out on me.
I'm here, Emily responded, forcing a smile.
Just thinking. Thinking about Jack?
There was no point in lying. Kate had seen it all, and her instinct was spot on Emily's side.
It's complicated. I have so many questions, so many feelings. I thought I was completely over him.
Clearly, you're not, Kate replied gently but firmly.
You have to talk to him. This could be your chance. Chance for what?
She retorted, her voice sharper than intended.
To relive a past that hurt too much the first time?
Kate frowned, but there was an understanding in her eyes.
You owe it to yourself to explore where this could go.
You've built a new life, but it doesn't mean you can ignore your old one completely. Just then, a slower song began to play, filling the air with an intimate melancholy that resonated with Emily's turmoil.
She glanced back at Jack. He was looking at her with something akin to hope.
Maybe I'll talk to him, she mumbled, half to herself.
Good, Kate said, her enthusiasm bubbling back. Tonight's your night. Just be honest about how you feel, it's the only way to find out what this is all really about. But what if she opened that door only to find it was better left closed? It felt like a dangerous game. Yet she felt that flicker of determination.
With renewed resolve, Emily decided she wouldn't run from those feelings any longer.
She took a deep breath and stood up, smoothing her dress.
As she approached the dance floor, she could feel the music pulsing through her veins. Tension and excitement danced in her belly as she moved closer to Jack.
Would he still want her, after everything?
With every step, she wrestled with her doubts, but pushed them aside. The moment was drawing near, and she realized she was tired of wondering what might have been in the moment when she reached Jack felt surreal, like stepping into a scene she had rehearsed countless times. As the crowd parted around them, Emily's resolve crystallized.
Can we talk?
She asked, her voice steady despite the tempest inside.
Jack's face lit up with surprise and something more relief. I'd love that.
But before she could take a breath and process her daring leap into the unknown, she heard Mia's laughter behind her.
Jack! What's taking so long? We need you.
The moment hung in the air, heavy with expectation and uncertainty.
Would Jack choose the past they shared, or the future unfolding before him? Emily's heart raced, sensing this encounter could change everything or nothing at all.
The seconds felt like years as Jack turned slightly, his eyes darting between Emily and Mia, who was now weaving her way through the crowd. Emily's heart thudded painfully in her chest. She felt exposed, vulnerable in ways she hadn't anticipated.
Was this truly the moment she had longed for, or had she just stepped into a minefield of emotions? Yeah, just a second. Jack called back to Mia.
He looked at Emily again, his expression softening.
Can we step outside? I don't want to have this conversation with everyone listening.
Emily nodded, trying to mask the nervous flutter in her stomach, and followed him toward a quiet patio at the edge of the venue. The stars twinkled high above like silent witnesses to the chaos unfolding inside her heart. As they reached the patio, the cool night air was a soothing balm to her frazzled nerves. Jack leaned against the railing, looking out into the distance, lost in thought. She could see the silhouette of his strong jawline and the way his brow furrowed slightly as he contemplated his next words. Emily, he started, then hesitated, as if searching for the right phrase. Look, I know this is all unexpected, she interrupted, her own voice shaking.
But I need to understand what's going on. Why did you come back?
Jack turned to face her fully.
I came back because I never really got over you. After I left, I thought it was for the best, but I just kept thinking about us.
Then when I saw you tonight, he trailed off, rubbing the back of his neck. I wanted to see if there was still us this time around. His honesty struck her like lightning. The rush of emotions swelled within her. It felt almost like coming home.
But what about Mia?
She asked, though the question lodged in her throat like a stone. I mean, you've been with her. We're not serious like that, he admitted, pain flickering in his eyes. It was comfortable, but it's not you, Em.
It never was.
Her breath caught as she processed his words, a part of her whispering for joy at the possibility, while another portion thrummed with caution. Her resolve wavered.
Do you realize how much time has passed? How much has changed? I had to learn to live without you.
I know, Jack said, taking a step closer, his voice lowering.
But I realized I want to be part of your life again. It feels like I've missed so much. Maybe we can figure it out together?"
With every word he spoke, she felt walls she had carefully constructed start to crumble. The hope mingled with fear, a duel of conflicting emotions.
What if we mess it up again? What if the past just repeats itself? Some things are worth the risk. Jack's gaze was steady, the confidence reassuring yet terrifying. "I want to take that risk with you if you'll let me."
Tears pricked her eyes, but she blinked them away. She didn't want to overthink, she didn't want to run anymore.
"I need time to think, Jack. It's not just about us, it's about who I am now."
"Of course," he replied, his voice a whisper filled with understanding.
He reached out, gently squeezing her hand. "Just know I'll be here, waiting."
They stood there in silence, the air charged with unspoken hopes and fears. The music from the gala thumped faintly in the background, but all Emily could hear was the echo of her own heartbeat, pounding for a future she dared not dream of just yet. But the moment shattered when Mia pushed through the door, searching for Jack.
"Hey, is everything okay?"
she asked, momentarily bewildered by their closeness. Emily's breath hitched again.
What now? Was it really worth the risk of reopening her heart with the tumult swirling around them?
"Just catching up," Jack said, his eyes flicking back to Emily.
"I'll be right there."
As Mia smiled and turned to give them privacy, Emily felt an urge to run again. Would Jack choose her, or was he still caught in a past that might always tug at him? Whatever the answer would be, she knew one undeniable truth. She had to find out if they were destined to walk together into the unknown, or if she had stepped back into a storm with no way out. With that thought heavy in her mind, she took a deep breath. The night was far from over, and neither was their story. What awaited them once they returned inside? As Emily stood on the patio, the world around her seemed to blur. The muffled sounds of the gala drifted away, replaced by the heavy thump of her heart in her chest. Jack's gaze lingered on her, a mix of hope and uncertainty reflecting in his eyes. She could tell he was wrestling with his own emotions, too. Every second felt taut, like a string about to snap. The pressure of the moment pressed down on her, making it hard to breathe. "Maybe we should head inside," she suggested, her voice barely escaping her lips. The idea of returning to the bustling crowd felt daunting, yet the thought of further isolation gnawed at her.
"Yeah, okay," Jack replied, but he didn't move.
There was something electric in the air between them, something she had longed for but feared at the same time. She took a tentative step closer, drawn to him in a way that felt both comforting and terrifying. "Jack," she started, but her words tangled in her throat. What was there to say? After 5 years, was it even possible to find their way back to what they once had? "In case you're wondering," Jack interrupted, "I'm not going to just walk away again."
"I can't. I don't want to."
His voice was steady, and for the first time, Emily felt a flicker of hope dampen her fear.
"Can we really do this?"
she asked, searching his eyes for answers. "We have to try," he murmured, stepping slightly closer, his warmth radiating through the chilly air.
But the moment was broken again as Mia's voice floated out from inside, asking if he was coming back.
Emily felt a familiar ache as the reality of the situation washed over her. Jack was still tied to someone else, even if it wasn't serious. "I need to know," she pressed, her voice shaking.
"Are you sure about this? About us?" Jack's eyes softened. "I don't want to do anything to hurt you again. I know what I felt then, and what I still feel now.
If there is a chance to rekindle that, we owe it to ourselves to explore it, right?" She wanted to believe him. Every fiber of her being screamed to trust in this moment, yet shadows of doubt loomed in the back of her mind. "For so long, I thought I had to move on," she confessed, her voice trembling. "I became someone new, someone who was okay without you. You're still you, Emily," he said gently.
"I've seen that in the way you interact with people tonight. You're strong and vibrant. I never stopped admiring that."
A genuine smile broke through her worries, warming her heart. "Thank you," she whispered, realizing how much she had missed hearing those words from him. The sound of laughter spilled from inside, drawing her attention. What if they went back, returned to their previous lives? Would they drift apart again? Let us go back, she said abruptly, surprising even herself. But one condition anything, he replied, his gaze unwavering. No more hiding, and no more running. If we're going to do this, we do it together. No secrets. Jack nodded slowly, a real promise flashing in his eyes. Together. Always. They stepped back inside, and for a moment, time stood still. The music thrummed, the lights sparkled, but all Emily could focus on was Jack's presence beside her. But as they emerged into the crowd, the reality crashed back in. Mia's smile was bright, welcoming, unaware of the complexities swirling just beneath the surface. Emily felt a pang of guilt twist in her stomach. Could this really work? As Jack laughed at something Mia said, a flicker of concern clouded her heart. The night was laced with hidden truths, and the choices they made from here on out would shape everything. Before she could ponder more, a sudden commotion erupted at the edge of the venue. Someone was shouting, and the atmosphere shifted dramatically. "What's happening?" Emily asked, her heart racing again. This was not part of her plan. Jack's eyes widened, and without thinking, they both rushed towards the source of the uproar. What had they stepped into? The night was just beginning, but it felt like everything was about to change again. The crowd thickened as Emily and Jack pushed their way through. Anxiety crackled at the edges of her thoughts. She could barely register the glitz and glamour around them, her mind replaying Jack's words, the promise of together, always. But with each step, her heart raced at the growing sound of chaos, louder and more jarring than the upbeat music that once filled the air. When they finally reached the front, a group had gathered, faces twisted in a mix of shock and confusion. In the center was a young woman, clutching her phone and shouting, "He's gone. He just vanished." "What do you mean he's gone?" Someone from the crowd called out, their voice tinged with disbelief. Emily's stomach dropped. She exchanged a worried glance with Jack. "Who are they talking about?" "I don't know," he said, a frown creasing his forehead. "Let us find out." They edged closer, and Emily strained to hear the young woman's frantic explanation. "He was standing right here. He was acting strange, then suddenly, he just took off running." "Who?" "Daniel. Daniel Shepard." A wave of recognition slammed into Emily. Daniel, the billionaire noted for his erratic behavior and charitable ventures, was known for his high-profile parties. "I remember hearing about him," she murmured to Jack. "He has had a lot of media attention." "He has quite the character, too," Jack added, his expression tight. "But why would he just run away?" Murmurs rippled through the crowd, and Emily could feel a palpable tension in the air. The energy shifted as people shared theories. Some claimed he might have been overwhelmed, others speculated he could be playing a prank. But there was something urgent in the young woman's voice that suggested panic wasn't unwarranted. As the murmurs morphed into anxious chatter, a familiar face pushed through the crowd. Mia. Her eyes were wild, scanning the scene. "What's going on?" she demanded, breathless. "Daniel Shepard's missing." Someone yelled. Mia's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. "Missing? How is that even possible?" Emily felt a tightness in her chest. "We need to help find him," she said, urgency swelling in her voice. Jack nodded. "You're right. Let us spread out, talk to people, check the surrounding areas." They exchanged an intense look, an understanding that whatever was happening could unravel quickly. They needed to be focused. The night had suddenly turned from a reunion to a potential crisis. As they fanned out into the crowd, Emily's mind began to swirl again. Was it possible their night had taken a turn so drastic? She felt Jack's presence beside her, a grounding force against the chaos, but her heart raced for reasons beyond the missing man. "Emily," Jack's voice pulled her from her thoughts. He had turned and caught her by the arm. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," she replied, though doubt shadowed her words. What if this changes everything?" "What do you mean?" "Jack, if we're going to really try again, we need to be honest. Not just between us but to everyone else involved, like Mia. It's messy." Jack stared at her, his blue eyes filled with a mix of determination and concern. "We'll figure it out. But right now, we need to stay focused." He was right.
She took a deep breath, anchoring her thoughts. All right, then let us start searching. As they moved further into the chaos, they heard a shout from behind them. Over here! I think I saw him. Emily's heart raced again, this time with a strange mix of fear and hope. What awaited them in the moments to come? Would they find Daniel and discover something that could radically change their own destinies? With each step forward, Emily could feel the threads of her own narrative weaving deeper into this unexpected night. But as she glanced at Jack, uncertainty began to creep in again. What truths were they about to uncover? The voices in the crowd grew louder, filled with urgency and concern. Emily felt a knot tighten in her stomach as she and Jack hurried towards the direction of the shout. The night had slipped into chaos, and with each step, every face was a new worry, every moment a new possibility. Where could he have gone? Emily asked, scanning the dimly lit street beyond the crowd. She could see groups of people forming, whispering, and pointing. Panic spread like wildfire through her body. The thought of what could happen to Daniel was unsettling. Should we call the police? Jack suggested, glancing nervously at Emily. She nodded, her heart racing. Yes, but let us see if anyone else knows anything first. Just then, a man broke away from the throng, his eyes darting everywhere like he was hunting for prey. I saw him. He was running toward the park. The crowd shifted, a wave of movement cascading toward the park entrance. Emily grabbed Jack's wrist tightly, and they fought their way through. Come on, she urged. As they stepped out into the cool night air, the music faded behind them, replaced by the sounds of rustling leaves and distant voices. The park loomed ahead, dark and shadowy, a stark contrast to the brightness of the party. Each step deeper into it felt like crossing a threshold into uncertainty. Let us split up, cover more ground, Jack proposed. Emily hesitated, the idea of being alone amplifying her fear. Are you sure? What if something's wrong? Just keep your phone close. I'll check near the fountain. Meet me back here in 10 minutes? Reluctantly, she agreed, reasoning that it was the best way to find Daniel. They exchanged one last determined glance before parting ways. Emily stepped deeper into the park, her senses heightened, scanning every shadow and every noise. As she moved silently, she couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability creeping in. Her thoughts turned toward Daniel. What was wrong with him that night? Adrenaline coursed through her veins, but it was mixed with a haunting worry. She knew people could fall apart and spiral down. She had witnessed it firsthand in her own life. Suddenly, she heard laughter nearby. A group emerged from behind a large tree, illuminated by the faint glow of a nearby lamppost. They seemed to be drinking, carefree, a stark contrast to the tension that had gripped her heart. Emily almost turned away when one of them caught her eye. Hey, did you see a guy run through here? He is about 6 feet tall, dark hair? She called out. The man raised an eyebrow, his demeanor shifting slightly. Yeah, we saw him. He was acting really weird. Almost like he was being chased. The hair on the back of Emily's neck stood up. Chased? Yeah, he seemed panicked. Took off toward those trees. Thank you, she shouted, sprinting off in the direction he pointed. Each breath felt heavier, every footfall as loud as thunder in the stillness. What if he was in trouble? What if he needed help? Just as Emily approached the dense thicket, she heard a voice, a man's, low and frantic. It sent chills racing down her spine. Daniel? She called out hesitantly, inching closer. His figure came into view, almost hidden among the dark foliage. He appeared disheveled, breathing heavily. When their eyes met, a flicker of recognition passed over his face. Emily! He gasped, his expression a mix of relief and fear. Where have you been? We've been looking for you. But before he could answer, a second voice called from the shadows, deep and menacing. You shouldn't have come here. None of you should have. Emily's heart raced. The tension shifted again. Who was this new presence? What danger lurked just beyond their sight? As she squared her shoulders and drew closer to Daniel, a swell of determination surged within her. What had she stepped into? Would she uncover the truth behind Daniel's disappearance or plunge into something darker? Emily's heartbeat thundered in her ears as she faced the unknown, ready to confront whatever came next.
The figure stepped into the moonlight, revealing a tall man with a broad frame and a grim expression. His eyes were sharp and predatory.
The intensity of his gaze made Emily's stomach clench tighter.
She felt as if she had stumbled into some secret game she didn't know the rules to.
"Who are you?" Emily demanded, her voice trembling slightly.
She instinctively moved closer to Daniel, feeling his presence give her a sliver of strength. The man chuckled softly, but it wasn't a comforting sound.
"That's not important.
What's important is why your friend is here." Daniel stepped forward, his hands raised in a placating gesture.
"It's not what you think. I just needed some air. I'm okay."
"Okay?" The stranger scoffed, waving a dismissive hand.
"You're trespassing in a place that doesn't welcome your kind."
"I know why you're here, but trust me, you don't want to be part of this." Emily felt her heart sink.
She glanced at Daniel, who looked almost haunted, shadows flickering across his face. "What does he mean, Daniel? What kind of trouble are you in?" Daniel's shoulders slumped, and Emily's breath hitched at the sight of his vulnerability. "I just made a mistake."
"I thought I could face it on my own," he said, his voice barely above a whisper.
"Face what?" Emily pressed, anxiety bubbling in her chest.
The stranger stepped closer, eyes glinting with mischief.
"You really have no idea what kind of game he is playing, do you? This isn't just some little mistake. This is bigger than you think. Get away from him!"
Emily shouted, feeling an urgent sense of protectiveness ignite within her.
She wasn't going to let this man intimidate them.
The man folded his arms and leaned back casually, an unsettling grin creeping across his features.
"What if I told you that Daniel owes a debt? A debt that could cost him everything?" "Stop!" Daniel interjected, his voice harsh. "You don't have to involve her in this."
"Oh, but she is already involved."
"She is here now, isn't she?
And if I were you, I'd be worried about more than just debt."
The man's tone turned ominous.
"There are consequences for actions, and it seems your actions are catching up to you." Daniel's expression changed, the weight of the world pressing down on him.
"I'll fix this. I promise. You don't have to get involved, Emily. Just go back."
Emily shook her head, fighting against the swell of emotions crashing over her.
"No. This is about us too. I'm not just going to leave you here with him. Let us face this together, whatever it is." The man's laughter echoed through the trees, sending shivers down her spine. "Together? That's adorable.
But you have no idea what's lurking in the shadows.
This isn't just some simple problem, this involves people who don't play by the rules."
Daniel's gaze met Emily's, and in that moment, she saw more than just fear, she saw a plea for help. This man wasn't just a stranger, he represented a hidden life, a complexity that threatened to unravel everything she thought she knew about Daniel.
"Whatever it is, we'll
figure it out," Emily said softly, channeling all her courage.
"I'm not leaving you." A storm of emotions raged between them as the stranger stepped back, eyeing them with curiosity. "Well, it seems we have an audience now. Why don't we make this a bit more interesting?" "What are you talking about?"
Daniel snapped. The man leaned in, voice low and dangerous. "I challenge you both, find the truth behind what happened tonight, or suffer the consequences." With that, he melted into the darkness, leaving Emily and Daniel standing frozen, the weight of his words hanging in the air.
Emily's heart raced as adrenaline surged through her. "We can't let him intimidate us. We have to find out what's going on and fast." Daniel nodded, the fear in his eyes mingling with determination. "You're right. We need to dig deeper than this.
I can't let them take you away from me, especially without knowing what's really at stake."
As they stood together under the dim light, shadows danced around them, and a sense of urgency gripped them tight. What truth lay buried, waiting to be uncovered? They didn't know what awaited them, but one thing was certain,
stepping into that darkness would change everything. With adrenaline propelling them forward, they turned, ready to face whatever lay ahead. What if the truth turned out to be more dangerous than either of them had anticipated? Emily took a deep breath, the night air heavy with tension as she turned to Daniel. His face was a mixture of worry and resolve, a landscape of emotions she wished she could soothe away with a touch. They had to move fast, they couldn't let the stranger's veiled threat hang over them for one more minute. "Let us start by retracing your steps," she suggested, her mind racing to find a plan. "You said you needed air. What were you doing out here?" Daniel hesitated, his expression clouded with doubt. "I was just thinking. I never thought he would find me." "Who?" Emily pressed, sensing the urgency in her voice. "Who's after you, Daniel? You need to tell me everything." He rubbed the back of his neck, looking almost ashamed. "There are people involved in things that I never wanted to be a part of. I made a stupid choice, a choice that brought this to my doorstep." His voice broke, the weight of guilt evident in every syllable. "What kind of choice?" Emily felt a swell of frustration but tempered it with concern. This was not the time to become angry. They needed to stay focused. "The kind that involves money I borrowed from the wrong people. I thought I could manage the risk, pay them back, but it escalated." Daniel's lips pressed into a thin line, and Emily could see that this issue was much deeper than either of them had realized. "Okay, we need to put a plan together," Emily said, trying to keep her voice steady as hope flickered within her. "If you owe them money, maybe if we find a way to settle that debt, we can get them off your back." Daniel shook his head. "You don't get it. It's not just about the money. This goes beyond that. They want something from me, something I thought was secured far away from this. If they find out you're here, they'll use me against you, right?" She felt a chill creep up her spine, realizing the depth of the danger they faced. "How can we make this right then? If we can figure out what they want, maybe we don't even know what they're after, or how far they'll go to get it," he interrupted, his voice rising in panic. "I don't want you to get hurt, Emily." She stepped closer, searching his eyes. "But I don't want to run away. You're worth fighting for. Just tell me how to help." For a moment, silence enveloped them, thick with the weight of their predicament. And then, a flicker of something hopeful sparked in Daniel's gaze. "Okay. There might be a few people we can talk to. Some I trust more than others, but they might have the information we need. We can meet them, but it's risky. I won't lie to you about that." "Yes, but what choice do we have?" She gripped his hands tightly, grounding both of them. "Let us confront this together." The tension in the air shifted slightly as he nodded, determination firming his features. "You're right. We have to take the risk. Let us head to the old diner on 4th Street. If anyone knows something, it'll be there." As they started walking, Emily could feel thrill and dread battling within her. With every step, the reality of their situation loomed larger. What if they found out they were looking? What if the answers came with consequences? A cold breeze swept through the trees, further darkening the path ahead of them. All she could do was hold onto Daniel's hand tighter, hoping that together, they could navigate this deepening nightmare. Then, just at the edge of the tree line, an ominous rustle turned her heart into stone. They weren't alone. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence. Daniel's grip tightened. "Stay close." No matter what happens, in that instant, shadows moved, a figure emerging from the darkness. Was this another person connected to Daniel's secret, or had the man from before returned to toy with them again? Emily's breath hitched as the figure approached, the moonlight capturing the outline of danger. What if this was the beginning of something far worse than they had imagined? With a pounding heart, she braced for whatever would come next, knowing that every choice from this moment could change the course of their fate. Drastically. Daniel tensed, his entire body reacting like a coiled spring, ready for whatever threat lurked in the shadows. Emily could feel his panic, but it was swallowed by her own. She could practically taste the fear in the air, sharp and electric, as the figure stepped closer. Stay behind me, Daniel whispered urgently, positioning himself between Emily and the intruder. She didn't move, though. They were a team now, and whatever was about to happen, they had each other's backs. Who are you? Daniel called out, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. The figure emerged fully into the moonlight, revealing a tall woman with striking features and dark, piercing eyes. She was the kind of person who commanded attention without trying. But instead of confidence, her expression twisted into a knowing smirk. Daniel, she drawled, I see you're mixing company with locals now. Her voice dripped with disdain as she eyed Emily, who couldn't shake the feeling that the smile on the woman's face was a knife, hidden just below the surface. Emily exchanged glances with Daniel, sense of urgency blending with caution. Who are you? She asked, forcing her voice to remain even. She needed to understand the stakes before they spiraled further out of control. You should know that secrets have a way of exposing themselves, the woman replied, ignoring Emily's question. And you've gotten yourself tangled in something much larger than you realize, Daniel. Enough with the games. I'm done playing puppet, Daniel shot back, his tone fiery yet laced with dread. What do you want? She laughed lightly, brushing a stray hair away from her face. What do I want? I want what's owed to me. You might find that you owe quite a bit more than just money. The thread hung in the air, pulsating like a heartbeat. Emily's stomach twisted. A sense of betrayal swept over her. What are you talking about? She asked, her voice trembling slightly now. Reeling in the implications was harder than she expected. Whatever Daniel had encountered was dangerously intertwined with this woman, suffocating their chances of finding the truth. Let us just say Daniel was part of a deal that requires certain collateral, she replied, her eyes narrowing. And with your arrival on the scene, sweet Emily, I fear he may lose you if he doesn't comply. Leave her out of this, Daniel said through gritted teeth. I'm the one you want. Emily felt a surge of determination. The idea of being used as leverage struck her like a punch to the gut. I can handle myself, she said firmly, planting her feet. Whatever your issues may be with Daniel, it isn't my fault. I'll stand with him. The woman's laughter rang through the trees, chilling, carefree. How noble of you, she taunted, but naive. You have no idea how deep the waters run. Stick around, and you may find yourself drowning, too. Enough! Daniel barked, his protective instincts kicking in. You can't threaten her and expect me to play along. Emily could see the tension winding tighter, a barely contained storm about to unleash. What do you want from him? She demanded, defiance blazing in her chest. What are you really after? The woman regarded them both, her expression turning serious. A simple exchange. I give Daniel a chance to make good on his debt, and he walks away whole. Or you could become part of this equation, and I'll take what's yours to ensure he delivers. Daniel's face paled. No, he whispered, panic flaring. I won't let you hurt her. The weight of 1,000 decisions bore heavily on his shoulders, and the fear in his eyes reflected the unspoken reality they faced. The risk was growing by the minute. Then you need to decide, the woman replied, an icy smile creeping across her lips. If you want to save her, you better get me what I want. And don't waste my time. With that, she stepped back, retreating into the shadows with a swiftness that left Emily breathless. The silence following her departure screamed, leaving them to process the whirlwind of revelations and emotions that now engulfed them. What did I get us into, Emily? Daniel said, his voice breaking as the weight of betrayal crashed over him. We'll find a way out of it, she insisted, gripping his hands tightly. You're not alone. I won't let you face this on your own. Daniel's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and in that moment, vulnerability washed over him like a tide. I don't know how to fix this. You have me, Emily replied, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. We'll figure it out together. Daniel's determination sparked once more, igniting the flames of hope that had threatened to dwindle. You're right, he said, resolute. The first thing we need to do is find out what she meant by collateral and why my past has come back to haunt me. As they turned to leave the park, hand in hand, they felt the weight of the world on their shoulders. The journey ahead was uncertain, But one thing was clear, they would discover the truth together. Whatever darkness awaited them, they would face it as a united front, ready to confront every shadow lurking in the distance. The night still held its breath as they moved forward, hearts pounding with the fear of unknown consequences but also filled with something bright and fierce, the strength found in unity. As dawn approached, they knew they were on the precipice of something life-changing, and together, they could forge a way through the storm. And as they stepped back into the light, a chorus of determination rang out between them, an unspoken promise to confront whatever awaited, side by side. Now, before you go, I need you to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. And don't just stop there, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep us thriving. Comment down below with your thoughts and feelings about this thrilling conclusion. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's create a community that experiences every twist together. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second. Join us back in this adventure.